It's me, Mario! Hello!
Mario is by far one of the most easily recognized video game characters of all time, and some may even have memories of playing on the NES system with their friends or family at home. Or perhaps you may have gone to the arcade and played as Mario in the original Donkey Kong game. Whatever the case is, chances are that you recognize this Italian plumber with blue overalls and a red cap. But despite this, not many know that Mario is indeed an actor. In fact, all the games are nothing more but an act. In 1985, Nintendo came out with Super Mario Bros. On the NES, and it was a massive hit. The storyline mainly consisted of Mario embarking on a journey to save Princess Peach from Bowser. In 2006, Super Mario Bros. Was released on the DS, and the storyline was similar as the original, but there were a couple new worlds and a new couple power-ups, but other than that, the storyline was exactly the same. And this is where some people begin seeing through Mario's act. In Super Mario Bros. 3, we get to see a couple more pieces of evidence pointing to this. For instance, we see red curtains go up at the beginning of the game, and when you finish the game, the curtains come back down with the words "The End" on display, which is also something that is commonly done at the end of a stage play. In the next couple photos, we see floating platforms are being held by wires, the blocks Mario jumps on have huge silhouettes behind them, and even the bushes have shadows behind them, making them appear as stage props. And this shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone, because as players, we also witness Mario getting paid as we play the game. Think about it. There are tons of coins throughout the Super Mario games that can be collected, and in fact, the game goes out of its way to make sure players collect these coins by making it a mission. So it's safe to assume that Mario has always been getting compensated very well for his performances. But if you still aren't convinced, let's go ahead and take a look at a more credible source, the creator of Mario and all these games, Shigeru Miyamoto himself. In 2015, he was asked if Mario Bros. 3 was a stage performance, to which he nods while looking at the video, and this officially confirms Mario Bros. 3 as a stage play. And I know what you're thinking. Well, yeah, everyone knows that the third game is just a play. But you see, what I'm arguing is that all the games are staged, not only the third one. This means it's not just Mario, but the entire line of characters we see in each game who are supporting role actors as well. Now let's go ahead and take a look at Princess Peach, for example. Starting from her original appearance in Super Mario Bros., the princess has fallen victim to Bowser's kidnapping efforts various times. Now, this happens so often that it becomes the central point of conflict in most Mario games, and she magically somehow always ends up back at her castle safe and unharmed. I mean, you'd think at this point she'd hire some more guards or take more precaution. It just doesn't really make a lot of sense. In total, we know Peach has been kidnapped by Bowser at least 14 times. Now what about Bowser? Bowser has been beaten by Mario countless times, and yet he always keeps reappearing in different games as if nothing happened. His character design looks to be the same in each game. He never reappears with any injuries or scratches on him. Now, this isn't just a coincidence. Overall, Bowser has been beaten by Mario more than 17 times without any injuries. How is this possible? What if I told you that Bowser was never really in any danger? I mean, take a look at this. Bowser jumps right through the platform, we see no lava, no injuries, great, that solves that problem. In the following clip, we do see lava, but what struck out to me the most in this scene was that Bowser goes right through the lava, almost making it look like a stage prop. And we see this occur many times. I mean, in this clip, we don't even see lava, but instead, when Bowser falls, he hits the ground and the ground shakes. And if players stuck around to watch the credits roll to the very end, they'd be showed this clip where we see Bowser's condition. Again, we see no physical scratches on Bowser, but what we do see is Bowser Jr. look at the camera and acknowledges the audience. Which brings me to my next topic that I did want to talk about. Actors breaking character. There are so many instances in which we see this done, and we see this most notably done throughout the entire Paper Mario series out of any of the other games. As an example, here we have a character talking to Mario about the Wii controller remote button. This one isn't very subtle either, where we have a character from the Thousand Year Door acknowledging players in front of the TV screen saying, "Hey, I'm talking to you." And I suppose in this next one, you can pass it off by saying Nintendo was promoting their game for the Thousand Year Door, so I'll let it slide, but I still wanted to put it in. And lastly, this one, yeah, he just straight up acknowledges the TV again. And what all these characters do have in common is that they were never seen again after they broke the fourth wall. And if we take a look at the side characters' reaction, they're pretty dismissive and almost try to play off the situation by saying, you know, am I missing something or did this guy go nuts? And looking at it from a new perspective, their reactions make sense. These two characters are trying to stay on script and avoid unemployment. This isn't anything new either. Mario faces this pressure as well. And if we look back on Super Mario games, we can see a clock on the right corner. And we can assume this clock is for players to ensure they complete a level on time, but this clock is actually for Mario. The time represents film because Mario only has a certain amount of lives to do these scene takes. He only gets a certain amount of chances to get a scene right. Otherwise, it may cost him his job. But by far the best symbolism for this can be found through another character called Dimentio. Now, when you meet him for the very first time in Super Paper Mario, he addresses himself to the audience as the pleaser of crowds. His character as a whole represents acting. I remember his character making me feel a little unsettled as a child just because of how much he would constantly break the fourth wall. And, for example, when you finish battling him for the very first time in the game, he says, "Of course that played out exactly as planned." And as I took a look at his character design, his mask resembled something to me, and reminded me of these masks we see in theaters. Well, these things are actually called comedy masks and eventually became the theater mask symbols associated with drama even today. Dimentio heavily symbolizes and is the embodiment of theatrical acting. And with phrases such as pleaser of crowds, the game developers were not trying to be very subtle about this. And then just for the cherry on top, the icing on the cake, you want to know what his theme song is called? It's Showtime, that's what it's called. I rest my case. But in all seriousness, it's great to see that all the characters get along after work. We see them go-kart racing together and even play Mario Party together. A detail that always stood out to me was the ally phone, which would pair you up with an ally that would help you throughout the rest of the game. Now, the allies would typically be quote-unquote villain characters, which really solidifies the idea that all the characters are actors and have a great time together off the screen. And I couldn't have made this theory without including the Mario Bros movie, specifically the scene where the brothers are promoting their plumbing business. Now you're telling me that out of all the advertisement options they had, such as newspaper, billboards, social media, their first instinct was to make a commercial? Well, with having over 40 years of acting experience, I think I'd go with the same option. It's almost second nature to them at this point. So after acting for 40 years, Mario and Luigi both hit their big break on the screen and released their very first movie. And it doesn't look like their career will be slowing down anytime soon because they're set for a second movie in April of 2026, so look forward to that. Anyways, my name is Magica, thank you for sticking around to the end of this video, and yeah, I hope you all have a great rest of your day.